Now before I sand this, just one more thing. I would suggest leaving the light on and just leaving it off to the side so that when you're sanding, your dust is going to go over here, not on the light. You don't want to have your light right here and start sanding and have all the sand dust get on your light. Try to keep this clean as much as possible. I don't want to get any dust inside this. It's a halogen little bulb in there, and once you start getting dust on there and things of that nature, you're liable to have it blow on you, then you've got to get another one. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this off to the side and then see what I can do about these places here. Now that one there, I sanded the pencil mark off and the bump, the slight bump. Boom, that one's done. I don't have to do anything with that. Here's another ridge. Okay, that was good. You don't have to get all the pencil mark off, but if it works out that way, that's fine. You don't want to just hit that one area. Once you hit the middle, right here where it needs to go, you can do the surrounding a little bit too, just to get it to blend in. There. That one's out too. Those two imperfections on the wall, gone, because I spent a little bit more time on identifying them and sanding them. Same thing here. That one's gone. Now, I could have done that on the entire wall before I started sanding, but I wanted to do it the way I showed you, so I got everything, I got it clean. Then I can go back and start marking things, because lots of this stuff, if I would have done it first and trying to get any imperfections before I started using the sanding pole, I would have a ton more marks to go. The sanding pole took out the majority of the marks and everything. This, I'm just going back and hitting certain areas. Okay? Those areas are got done. There's a couple other ones. This one is a slight imperfection where I'm going to have to put some tight skim material over that. So that one I'm not going to sand. Same thing with that one. So this, I think will go away. Sometimes if you see an indentation, you can sand around it and you can get that out. This one here is a little bit too deep, and I'm afraid I'll sand all the skim material that I put on the wall before I can get that out. So I'll do this top one here. Good, that one came out too. That one came out too. Now if you got a pencil mark a little bit left, you don't have to get all that off. Your primer should cover that. That little bit is very insignificant. The last thing you want to do is to start marking these with a pen, and before you start thinking about it, you know. You don't want to do pen. Pen's going to get all over the place. If you leave any pen mark on here, that's going to bleed through your primer, and it's going to bleed through your paint every time, unless you use the right type of primer. We don't want to have to mess with that. Do not use a pen. I've seen some people do that. Even subcontractors, I've had to slap their hand a few times. Hey, what are you doing? Using a pen on the wall. You know better than that. Oh, it's one of my guys. So, you know, you got that kind of thing to deal with. Yeah. I tried. I don't want to mark that one too much. Some of it's going away. It's kind of a deep one, but let's see what I can do. Yeah, that's too much. Okay, so you're just going to go along the wall, keep moving your light wherever you need it. You can adjust your light. You can swivel it higher, lower, whatever. Put it closer to the wall at an angle. Try not to face it straight on. Then it's way harder for you to see everything. That's why when you get ready to do this, you want this at an angle that lights up your edges more. You have to prop it up, you can do whatever, or flip this up like that, you know. Then we gotta get it. Hey, see, that one came down. That one came off good. Lots of times that's all you have to do. That one came out. That came out nicely. If the pencil mark bothers you, you can hit it. It doesn't take much to get it off. You just don't want to sand too much. There. Good. Okay. Try that on your wall. And as you go, you can do your pencil marks. Then if you see anything else, once you have your light here, you can hit those as you go. That will make your finish a lot better. Okay? You're not a professional. Keep that in mind. Professionals aren't necessarily going to do this as much because time is money. That's why they're good. They get done with the wall, they move on. They can't spend as much time on it, and they've already learned all of this. You haven't learned this, so I'm trying to teach you all the basics that you need to know to do it yourself. Because first off, professionals may not get as many imperfections as this, obviously. So they don't have to do all this. Once they do it a couple times, they get better. But you, on the other hand, that's a different story. But you can still do a good job by following these steps. Okay, once you get it down like that and sweep off the wall, if you see any other imperfections, indentations that you want to put mud on, go ahead and circle those. So I'm kind of in the shadow there, so I'd probably put the light over my right-hand side if I'm over here, see? But, yeah. All in this area right here. This is really good now. This looks good. I can live with that. I mean, it's not going to be 100%. It's 98%, 99%, and it's all going to be the same. Once you put some primer on there, with it like this, you're going to see some scratches into the finish with your sanding pad. Just hairline scratches. You know, you might think, oh, am I going to see those? Well, if you put primer on here, the primer is going to build up on the wall just a little bit, and it's going to fill in on some of those scratch marks. Then, usually on a wall like this, I would recommend 1 coat of primer and 2 coats of finish. So you're going to have a coat of primer on here, 2 coats of finish, and each coat builds up just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And so, virtually, when you get done, if you see any little hairline scratches on here from the sanding pad, those are literally going to disappear with your painting. Now, I'm not saying scratch gouges that they're going to cover, because that's not going to happen. If you see a scratch or something like that, that was because when you were floating this out, you got a little piece of hard sheetrock mud or a piece of grit or something in there, and as you were pulling it, it hit that and made a little line. That's why it's really important to keep your blades clean, your sheetrock pan edge clean as you're pulling the material on and wiping it off. If you see a scratch, it's pretty much too late. If you missed it, now you're here, now you're going to have to put some mud on it. If you put any little mud on here, chances are you're not going to be painting this wall today. But you can get it ready. You can put a little bit of mud on there, and then tomorrow when you come, you can lightly sand those areas, and you're ready to start priming and painting. Okay? That's the beauty of this light. This light doesn't cost very much at the hardware store. It's only, this one here, I think was like $6.99 or $8. You generally can get them less than $10. If you're going to pay $30, you got the wrong one. All right? You don't need one like that, unless that's all they got. You know, don't let that hold you up on your project. But they're pretty inexpensive. Okay, so you just keep checking this. I'm going to check this wall. I'm going to get it all checked out, then I'll tell you what I'm going to do next. Takes you a little bit of time, but time is worth it in the long run, trust me. You're learning as you go. And every time you do it, you follow these steps, and you keep watching the videos, it'll keep impressing in your mind, oh, okay, that's why he has to do that. That's why you have to use that right material. That's why you've got to use a sanding pad. That's why you need to use the light. You know, all this kind of comes together. Just keep watching the video. You can watch it more than once. Hey, every time you watch something, you learn more. Every time you read something, you learn more. So just saturate yourself with information and watch things, watch people how they do things, and always learn, and that will make you better in whatever you do. That's all I have for this time, but I'll be back with more videos.